G'day Melissa, it's great to have you here. Could you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm here to sort of talk about sustainability and like food, your food choices. And so I don't know, where should I start?
Sweet. So I hear you eat a vegan diet. How long have you been vegan for?
It's coming up 2 years nearly. Yeah, it's between that sort of 18-month, 2-year time period. Yeah.
Cool. And what made you kind of become vegan?
I would say it's like a multitude of things. I can't really put it down to one thing in particular, but it was kind of like, I look back on it now, it was almost seemed inevitable that I was going to get here somewhere down the track. I would probably say I seen a friend who was on social media, and she had like a Facebook page, and it was growing quite large, and she was sharing about how she was eating this vegan diet, and it was really helping her, and she still does today, show these really, really beautiful pictures of food that she makes, like it's really, really artistic, and I was like, oh, this stuff's really cool. And I had actually never heard of veganism. I don't even know if I'd ever met a vegetarian ever, like in my life. And
where are you living?
Yeah, no, I know, but I just it had never come to me before, or I just ignored it and never really thought about it.
Because you came from a kind of a farming kind of background. Ish, didn't you?
I have. I mean, like I have worked on dairy farms, and yeah, I have done work where I've kind of gone, why didn't I think about it before? But it just obviously wasn't in a time and a place that I was ready to accept the information. Yeah.
Oh, cool. And I hear that since you've become vegan, you've kind of got a bit more involved into kind of the advocacy kind of side of veganism. So could you tell me a little bit about that?
So I guess that's kind of like comes back to what you were saying, like why am I, tell me a bit about myself. And so I'm currently like a full-time student at the University of Canterbury, and I run a club there. So we call ourselves the Veg Club of UC, VCUC for short. And basically, like, my exec were all vegan, and most of our members are vegan, but some of them are vegetarian and some are omnivorous. But they're just, they're open or they're accepting to more plant-based eating. And we're more of a social club, so we're not really on campus advocating really hard to make changes. But we do like little changes, like trying to get places like the cafes to do more vegan food and things like that. And then I also try to involve myself as much with the like local animal organisations and things like that. Just sort of volunteering with them or helping them where I can. And then I've got a small social media community where I try and spread the message online as well.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah.
I saw recently that you had a Vegans versus Meat Eaters video, and it was all over kind of YouTube and Facebook, and I guess that's kind of a bit of a conundrum, kind of the opposite sides that you would have it, but I hear there were quite a kind of few similarities when it came to sustainability and kind of looking at the animals, and could you tell us a little bit about that?
So the university magazine, I think they call themselves CANTA, like CANTA. I'm not actually sure what it stands for. And one of the writers wanted to do he wants to do these pieces where it's like these almost groups of people with opposite views on things that you would think would have opposite views on things and wouldn't have any sort of similarities between each other. But so he thought it would be a great idea to get some members from the Hunt SOC and some members from VCUC, and just sort of sitting down together and just have a chat and an interview, and we're kind of as guinea pigs, so first time we'd ever done anything like this. And so, it was actually really good, and we did find some sort of common ground, and like obviously we don't agree with many things, but we did find like that they tend to, like the ones that we were speaking with, they tend to be a lot more mindful about their impact on the environment than the standard consumer of meat. That they seem to be more mindful of, this is where the meat comes from, and they probably do buy less that's in their whole, farm factory.
Oh, cool. So you say you're talking about meat in the environment. Is meat bad for the environment?
Do you want me to be like straight out there?
Yeah,
well,
you go for it.
Yeah, like so many things are bad for the environment, but meat is definitely a factor that is underestimated as part of your global footprint when people are thinking about, how can I be more environmentally conscious? How can I be more sustainable? They tend to focus on other things, and I can understand why that is, and it's mostly due to the fact that many of the environmental organisations focus on things like, turning off lights that shouldn't be on, and make sure your taps are all fixed so the water isn't dripping, and try to, take public transport and do all these other little things, which are great, but they're not. Don't really see it very often. Them saying, "Hey, look, one of the best ways that we can help this problem that's happening over here is actually just to stop or minimise, or even just to minimise your consumption of animal products." Yeah,
it's absolutely crazy, isn't it? I think something like 18% directly of emissions come directly from livestock.
Yeah.
And water, like 1,000 litres for a litre of milk.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's absolutely crazy. And I guess that's about a bit of what you do on YouTube too, is it? That kind of advocacy?
Yeah. I mean, my channel has a whole range of stuff because I like to have a bit of fun with it. And it's not always about veganism, but I would say over like 90% of my content has veganism or some message that relates to it. And yeah, it's definitely, that's really what I want to keep doing with my channel, is focusing on that sort of stuff. It can be a little bit difficult with the science because people are always very easy to go, oh, no, that didn't cover too much of enough of a scope, or they didn't encompass this and that. But just more and more of that research that you're seeing, or that I've been seeing, and especially the research that's like less biased, like it's not funded by a particular industry or something rather, tends to show that, eating more plants and eating less animals is going to be more beneficial for the environment and living a more sustainable.
Well, awesome. So you think that environmental side of veganism is a big part of why you're also vegan?
Yeah, definitely. Like not too long after I went vegan, I actually watched the documentary Cowspiracy. I don't know, I'm not sure if you...
That's the one that turned me vegan, to be honest.
And it's actually really... I know this is supposed to be about me, but I know I've known you from another friend of mine. Yeah. And she was saying, like, I know when Jayden watches this documentary, I think he'll go vegan. I go, I think he will too. So it's really good to hear that it's making, that sort of documentaries making impacts on people's lives.
Cool. And maybe if you could talk to us about, it's been vegan nearly a couple of years now, that kind of transition, like how did you go from, I'm guessing you were eating meat beforehand to a vegan now. How do you find the community? How do you find foods at like cafes, for example? You said you're kind of changing it around a little bit at the university. And how do you make it easy for people kind of making that transition into the vegetarian or vegan lifestyle?
Okay. I guess you could make it a really detailed thing of this, but we don't have all day to do it. And for different people, it's going to be different. But I think it comes down to two main things, and that's one is education, which is about just educating yourself, informing yourself. I mean, if you're listening to this radio station, you're most likely going to have access to the internet, and you're going to be able to have a look at all these blogs and websites, and there's even nutritionfacts.org provides like free peer-reviewed like science. Reviews of science of like telling you about nutrition and how to eat, what you should be eating, and the other thing that is really important is support. So if you're on the internet and you're researching and finding information about that, then you may want to look at trying to see if you can connect up with other people in your local community that are vegan, or and they may not necessarily live locally, but it's good if you can involve yourself, with some local people, but even just some people that may live on the other side of the world, just and being able to share some things between each other online, and that can just really help. So I think support and education is definitely the two biggest factors. But I think, when you start removing things, you're like, okay, And I think most people, the slow transition probably works. Maybe one week you go, okay, I'm not going to eat any meat this week. And it's not like, okay, I'm just going to take that out and just not eat anything. It's kind of like, okay, I'm going to take that out, but I've got to add some more calories back in. Because I find a lot of the time people can really fail when they're not eating enough food. Yeah, you're not eating enough calories, you're more likely to fall off and go back to eating animal products. So yeah, maybe I think for a lot of people we're sort of like taking it maybe week by week and just sort of saying, hey, I'm not going to eat this week, and maybe introduce some other food into, just to sort of make sure you're getting the calories that you would have had.
Lots of like nuts or whole grains or seeds or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're not everybody can digest beans, but I know most people can eat beans. So maybe if you want to remove your meat and you can put some beans in there. I mean, top tip with beans: always soak your beans and rinse them. That eliminates a lot of the gassiness that people complain about. Yeah. So yeah, it's just something simple like that, and it doesn't have to be expensive, fake meat products or things like that. It can be just something beans, which is like completely different food, but still has a lot of great nutrients.
Oh, cool, yummy. And you mentioned that social media was kind of a big part of you becoming vegan and you getting information.
Yeah.
Could you kind of recommend like maybe some of the channels that interested you kind of becoming vegan, and maybe some of the support networks, whether it's through Facebook or YouTube or any other kind of site that you've kind of found within the community, and maybe if that's working for others as well? Okay.
I mean, I'm personally subscribed to about probably 500 plus vegan channels on YouTube. And like my own channel has only about, I think it's about close to 480 now. There is a number of really good ones, and it's hard to recommend because sometimes some of them can involve themselves in a bit of controversy that you don't necessarily want someone who's new to veganism to, it's silly stuff. It's not even really about veganism. I know Emily from the Bite Size Vegan is a really, really good channel, and I think a lot of people recommend her. But it's going to be hard to recommend one channel for every single person because I've got such a range of people that I'm subscribed to, and I would know, different demographics and groups of people would enjoy one type, but they may not like another.
So you're basically just saying there's such a range.
There's such a range out there. Have a look. Like there's men there that have like gone to prison and then they've found veganism, and then like now they've completely changed their lives. So that's and maybe they're a little bit rough around the edges, and maybe they could be a bit bad use of words sometimes when they're describing things. But maybe that's going to appeal to someone completely different to maybe someone else who might be like a person of color or someone who might be like gay or something, or someone who might be, it might just be a 15-year-old girl. It's just a whole range of people out there just going to appeal to different people.
Awesome, that sounds amazing. And I think that's nearly us. So just lastly, if people want to find you on YouTube, how do we find you?
I am Kiwibanana. So if you look up Kiwibanana or you type in, www.youtube.com, my username is MIZAWIZAKIZA, but you can find me through Facebook and like Instagram. I think I'm Kiwibanana Gal with like a GAL. And we've also got we've got a few pages for the University Club as well. If you look up Veg Club of UC or VCUC on Facebook, you'll probably find us there as well.
Cool. Thank you very much for your time and for all you...